Hi, my name is Miss Newlove and I'm one of the hosts of a brand new show brought to you by Bestel Foundation.
The Wellbeing Show is to help reach BAME families, to help with mental health, support and emotional needs. The Wellbeing Show streams live every Tuesday at 8 to 9 p.m. on Diversity Radio via Facebook, YouTube and Mixcloud. So tell your family and friends to tune in as we discuss topics that affect our well-being. The Wellbeing Show is proudly sponsored by NHS South London and Maudsley, the National Lottery Community Fund, and partnered with Real Insight, Base, 60 Seconds Creative Studio, and Gold Diggers Talk Show.
Hi, my name is Miss Newlove and Hello everyone, good evening. My name is Miss Newlove and I'm your host, and welcome to Bestel Foundation's The Wellbeing Show. Today is Tuesday, the 10th of May, and we have a good topic, which we were supposed to do last week, but because of the technical difficulties, we're back this week. Our topic today is what is chatter and how does it affect our well-being? As usual, I have my co-host, Miss Jacqui Obeng, who is a teacher of economics and business and also the CEO of Base, Become a Successful Entrepreneur. But before Jacqui joins me, I would just like to recognise our sponsors and partners as we always do. Our sponsors are South London and Maudsley NHS Trust and the National Lottery Community Fund. Our partners are Real Insight Consultant, Diversity Radio. We're streaming on Diversity Radio now. Don't forget to share this show with your family and friends, very important. Also, 60 Seconds Creative Studio, Base, Become a Successful Entrepreneur, and Gold Diggers Talk Show. So as I said, I have my co-host Jacqui today. Well, every week I have her. But yes, welcome, Jacqui. I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm okay, kind of tired, but fine, thank you. How's the week been?
My week's been quick. It just flew by. That's what I can say. It's been very hectic, and I know it's been hectic for you because your students, the sixth formers and the A11s, are about to embark on their GCSE and A levels. So how has that been? How's your week been in school?
It's been great. We've been, constantly having vigorous revision strategies of how to tackle things, questions. They've done very well, actually, very engaging. They're looking forward to the first, examination in the last 2 years. So we're all being hopeful that, they will pass successfully and, embark on their new, adventures. So it's been great. We're just pushing and just, constantly reminding them that it is easy. Once they do the revision, they should be able to pass. So it's been great, but it's good to come back. Unfortunately, we had, technical difficulty last week. We were not able to complete the show. It's good that we're back here with you. How's your week? How was your week?
Oh, as I said, it's been very, how can I say, it's just gone very quickly.
It's just gone quick, hasn't it?
Very quick. Yeah. It's been hectic. Okay. And like I said, GCSE, so my son's getting ready for his GCSEs, which is Monday. Yeah. And this topic is quite interesting one. It affects it affects all of us, from children to adults. And I'm sure a lot of the students have been dealing with a lot of chatter going on in their minds and, feeling anxious, and their inner voice has probably been, speaking to them in negative and positive ways. So it's quite a good discussion.
So we're looking forward to a fabulous show. And that's my favorite terminology. Everything is fabulous. We're going to be learning about what chatter is and how the inner voices affect our well-being. It's some sort of a mental illness, sort of a subtle, but then there could be severe inner voices as well, as we tried to discuss last week. 2 weeks ago, we had obviously Lee. Lee will hopefully be here soon. We're going to be inviting him to come over so he can support us with this well-being issues that we need to have a tap on, because there's a lot going on within the community. But today, as I said, chatter. and the inner voices. So we're going to start, first of all. So if you can take over and we can, get going.
Yeah, so welcome to the Wellbeing Show once again, viewers. And as I said before, share this show with your family and friends. We're going to have an interesting conversation. And I'd like to introduce you to Bestel Child and Adult Psychiatric Foundation. This is the Wellbeing Show, which is brought to you by Bestel Foundation, who are committed to ensuring accessibility of their services via their website and various social media platforms. And alternatively, you can contact the team, in regards to things that affect your well-being and your mental health. If you're affected by the show and anything we discussed today, the team are there always to be contacted. And our details, I believe, are going across the screen and will be going across the screen throughout the show. Our website is very informative, www.bestelfoundation.org. We're also on Facebook as Bestel Foundation, also on Twitter and Instagram as Bestel CAP, which stands for Child Adult Psychiatric Foundation, like I said before. And for further assistance, you can call the members of our team, Stella, Christabel, Hilda, and Marion. So yeah, and the details, as I said before, are going across the screens as we're speaking. So yes. I can't hear you, Jacqui. Can you check your voice? Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Right. So I don't know what happened. I think I muted my.
Drink some water.
Sorry, babe.
Drink some water.
I didn't get one. Right. So as I was saying, a colleague of mine came up with this, and she had a presentation. I think I talked about this last week.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, whoa, that's quite interesting. Which I had no idea that those inner voices was called chatter. Different voices talking to us in our heads, or in our minds, I should say. And it was really interesting. So I did a bit of research, and then I came across this person who went in detail about his chatter business. So about this inner voice that chat to us at a great speed. I wasn't aware that, all these voices takes about 4,000, per minute of things happening within the brain or within our, our inner minds or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was quite interesting. And then we gave examples of, what sort of things that talks to us, you see. And where, I talked about, my inner voices happens a lot in the shower, where it plans my day. So it'll say, oh, Jacqui, you need to do this, and oh, you've forgotten to do that, and maybe you need to call this person, or you need to do this. And that's how I can relate to chatter. There's so many other forms of chatter, which we're going to go through later on. But, basically, that's what these inner voices is about. And that was my understanding, which obviously it plays a lot on other people's minds, which could be, harmful to us as well. So we thought we'll talk about it. So if you can, give us some examples what you've experienced about chatter, or if you can relate to anything about chatter,
Oh yes, I can definitely relate to it. I think we can all relate to chatter. I think it's quite a new terminology to myself, like you were saying. I didn't know it was called chatter, but yeah, for the normal person, it's just the inner voice. It's like your intuition, isn't it, speaking to you? But then on a negative note, it could be insecurity, it could come as anxiety, it could come as low self-esteem. That inner voice could be speaking to you unnecessarily when you're going through certain things in life, stress. Sometimes you hear that inner voice that's always saying, oh, this is going to happen. Am I going to be able to cope? Are things going to be okay? How am I going to cope today? Exactly. That's how it affects our mental health, isn't it? Yes. So just some facts. if your eternal voice is going to speak to you that much, we need to pay attention to the type of conversations we're having with ourselves, which means that, you know, this show, we're bringing you knowledge, we're bringing you information, and as we're bringing you the information today, sometimes we're not aware, and we're letting you guys know that this is actually called chatter. So, you know, if you just pay attention to these voices that you hear every day, or how you speak to yourself, you know, it's very important. The inner voice can be very helpful as well, but it can also cause trouble.
Right.
You know, as we've been saying, and if we understand more about how it functions, then we can understand how to use it more, and how, you know, how to not listen to it. And there's so many different ways that we can do this. I mean, for everyone, it varies. You know, some people wake up, they meditate, you pray. Some people speak affirmations, you know, to their self, which can control the chatter and turn it into a positive thing throughout the day. And I believe it's something that we should do daily. You know, if you want to always, you know, have positive thoughts, and, you know, you want your intuition to speak positively to you, then it depends on how you start your day in the morning.
Yeah.
Really. But then again, you know, like we were saying, with some people, especially people that have severe mental health, it can't be controlled, and it can turn into, you know, serious illnesses.
Exactly.
You know, like which one, for example, like what's that one called?
An example of an illness you're talking about?
Yeah, an example of an illness, like paranoid schizophrenia is a perfect example of your chatter going beyond your control, where you're hearing voices constantly, you know. So if you can control it from the beginning, depending on what you're going through, you can stop it from getting to a severe stage. So yeah.
Exactly. And that's where we need to be aware of these different types of approaches or chatter that happens with you, so that you can identify how somebody says there's no sound. Can we check
I think
our
that was
sound?
before, probably. Yeah.
Was it before then?
Could be now. Yeah.
Right. So anyway, so the different types of chatter that was going to quickly go through. Sometimes you've got the rambling look like, which we talked about that last week, about so many things happening.
Sorry to interrupt you. I think with your sound, it's when you turn to the left. So if you keep it to the right.
Okay. So apparently it's saying it's okay now.
Yeah.
Right. So rambling soliloquy. Could you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Right. Is it better now?
Yes.
Okay. Right. And remember what examples we talked about, that things happening in your head. And for example, you've got unfinished business with people that, you know, you keep thinking about. And obviously you have all these dialogues in your mind that you need to pour out or have that communication with that person. So that would be one. And also having dialogues with ourselves. Okay. Could you hear me, babe?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay. Having dialogues with ourselves. So, for example, you know, you're not sure of what to do. Maybe you're weighing the options in your head. Should I buy this, or shouldn't I buy that, or should I go there? Whatever this, you know, circumstances is, you having that conversation with yourself. Sometimes you talk to yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and then sometimes you'll be answering to yourself. So it's examples of dialogues, having dialogues with yourself. And sometimes a compulsive rehashing of events. Again, things happen, and you know, you have that constant thinking about it. You're having all these, again, it's like having a dialogue. What's going to happen? The aftermath of what's happened. Do you see what I mean? So all of these are part of chatter that happens in your mind.
Yeah.
Exactly. And finally, you've got the AIDS-ridden imagination about the future. Again, imagine what the future is going to be of whatever issue that you're anticipating or hoping for. You can also, you know, visualize in your mind and probably having that conversation about, you know, how your life is going to turn up or whatever you're planning to do, you know, again, these are different types of chatter that happens within us. Lastly, having fixations on unpleasant feelings. Again, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Right. Again, is, having an opinion about something or having a notion about something. Again, you can still have that dialogue within you, which can also be harmful to you. Obviously, it will stress you out. You could probably turn into migraine. You probably have sleepless nights, anxiety. Again, all these examples of chatter harms us. So, just want people to understand the various types of chatter. Is there anything you wanted to add on to that?
Yeah, well, like you've said it all really. So recognizing the constant chatter in your head when you are trying to work out a problem. Sometimes we try to work out problems before they've actually happened in our head. Like, for instance, when you want to have an important conversation with someone, or you want to bring something up. Like, say you want to have a conversation with your child about something they've done that's wrong, but you said to them, okay, I'm going to speak to you tomorrow night. But from the moment you've said that to them up until that time, you keep playing in your head, okay, this is how it's going to happen. I'm going to say blah, 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 and she's going to say this. So when she says this, I'm going to tell her, no, you're wrong. That's, trying to work out the problem before you've even sat down with the person to work out the problem. And these are the kind of things that we should try to recognize and, how can I say, not try to go be ahead of ourselves. That's what I'm trying to do with myself in general anyway.
Okay.
It's not trying to go ahead of certain situations unless they're actually happening. So like if something's supposed to happen next week and I'm quite anxious about it, I try to stop myself from thinking about that situation and thinking about how it's going to work out, because you never know how something's going to work out until it actually happens. And these things often happen when we're stressed as well.
Yes.
When we're stressed about something, or, for instance, like lately, the bills have risen, electricity and gas has gone up. And, every day you could just say to yourself, how am I going to deal with this situation? Or how am I going to deal with that? And then you're just constantly stressing and worrying about something that hasn't actually happened. You're already thinking your bill's going to be £700, but the bill hasn't arrived, So that's a good.
I was just going to say, with the first point you mentioned, trying to work out a problem. Remember last week we spoke about the vision board, the vision board, and maybe a planner. And if you've got upcoming stuff happening and you think it'll be an issue, you just plan it out, out there, so that you don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
Which could help.
Yes, that's true.
Depending
on the situation. Yeah. So that's going back to like your life, like you were saying, people get to certain ages where they start to worry, like you're heading to 40 or you're heading to your 30s or you're heading to your 20s, whichever that milestone in your life, and you're thinking, I haven't achieved this, I haven't done that. So that's where a vision board, if you have a vision board, like you said, and you plan out certain things or you set goals and you work towards them, then you can kind of avoid the chatter in your mind because you've written everything down and you have a plan. So in those situations, the vision board works. But what about, sometimes with chatter, you can't really put it in a vision board because it depends what you're thinking about. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do. But then sometimes while we're having that chatter, it's all about the issues of our lives. You see what I mean? So, for example, if you need to do something, you could put it down. I'll deal with it tomorrow or Thursday. Then you don't have to think, worrying about it. So that's why it's okay to put it out there so that it's off you, so you don't have to worry about it. Obviously, this chatter comes up with worries, and that's why it's a form of a mental health issue.
Yeah. So another thing could be reflecting on a regret. So when you've done something that you've regretted, sometimes afterwards you talk to yourself and you think to yourself, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I should, why did I do that? Or why did I allow that to happen? And then that's another form of chatter that disturbs your mind. As you go on the next day and the weeks after, you're still talking about, to yourself in your mind about something that's, happened. So if it's already happened, it's happened, and you've got to try and move forward, depending on what it is. If it's not that bad, if it was just something that happened between you, your friend, or whoever, we just have to try and get over things and just move forward. Or it can become, issue, and then it starts playing on your self-esteem and how you look at yourself, and those kind of things. So, and then going over and over something, which interrelates with that as well. When you keep going over and over something that's already happened, or when you keep going over and over something that's about to happen, like I was saying before, you can't do, well, not that you can't do that, but going over and over something that's about to happen, the thing hasn't arrived, it hasn't actually happened. So the best way to deal with that is just to not think about it until it does happen, isn't it?
Yes, which is the best way.
And then fixating on something that won't go away is another example. So maybe you're trying to lose weight. I use that as a perfect example. And, you just keep thinking about, what am I going to look like when I lose 2 stones? What am I going to look like? But you're not going to lose 2 stones in a week or 2. It's not going to happen unless you put the work in. So there's no point in thinking about it, over and over again in your mind, because then it becomes a problem. Then it takes over your life, and then, it becomes like a new addiction. You're just thinking about unnecessary things that, can't change what's happening now in your life. So these are a few things. You just have to recognize what chatter is.
There's a lot of things actually which links to chatter, and which we is quite a new thing. This person, Ethan Cross, who did the research, calls it a mental microphone in our minds. And come to think about it, it is true, because
like that,
it takes over us, doesn't it? It's more or less the microphone. It controls you. And the key thing he says is, how can we use chatter in our minds to help us? We need it to be helpful, superpower, not destructive like a kryptonite. The key to beating chatter isn't to stop talking to yourself. The challenge is how effectively, it is. It is very effective. You see what I mean? There's a quote he said, whatever the conversation and how it manifests itself, when the inner voice runs amok and chatter takes the mental microphone, our minds not only torment, but paralyzes us. It can lead us to do things that sabotages us, which is very shocking to hear. Apparently, it's damaging us.
It's not that shocking, because it's when you think about it, it's, like I was saying at the very beginning, if we have to learn how to turn the chatter into something positive, as Ethan Cross is saying. So it's how do you, because it's not going to go away. Chatter doesn't go away. Your intuition doesn't go away. That small voice in your mind is never going to go away, but it's how to turn it into a positive thing. So you have to focus on positivity and focus on good things and focus on, motivation, motivational tools. And everyone's is different. Some people have their religion. Some people, meditate. Some people listen to speakers. On YouTube, we have loads of motivational speakers like me. Every morning I listen to Oprah.
Okay, do you?
Yeah, I do. Every morning I listen to Oprah on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
And
that's
at first I
interesting.
And I listen to
what's she saying every morning?
Well, different things. There's a lot of things on YouTube, like a lot of powerful speeches that she's done. And also podcasts. I started listening to podcasts, and, before it wasn't really my thing. And I didn't think it would help me. I was like, how listening to motivational podcasts going to help? But they do, because as you're cleaning the house, as you're cooking, as you're, doing your stuff, and you're listening to a podcast, it really changes your mindset. Because you're listening to what they're saying. They're speaking positive, depending on the subject, So there's a guy that I listen to called Jay Shetty. He's Indian.
Okay.
And, his podcasts are really good. Really, really good.
I think it's good because obviously it changes your mindset. It puts you in a mood for the day. So obviously, and then you're creating positiveness around you in that day. Do you see what I mean?
And
So I
even when
think,
you're feeling down, you know, like
yeah.
when there's times when you're feeling down and you know that the negativity is going to set in, it's not only in the morning you do it, you could do it in like during the day. Anytime you feel like negativity is coming in, then you use whatever tool that is good for you to turn your negative thoughts into positive thoughts. So it could even come in the day, you know, like for instance, when you're at work and you're on a break and you're just maybe stressed, the children are stressing you out, whatever, then you just listen to a 20-minute Oprah, you know, a 20-minute Oprah YouTube video. You wouldn't believe how it just changes. Like the mind is so powerful. It just changes the way you were thinking.
Absorbs the information and you're all clear. Yeah. So anyway, why the chatter is maturing now, the reason why I brought it up actually was for our young people. The chatter really, I should say, has an effect on young people in terms of their self-esteem, you know, their insecurities, how they think about themselves, how confident they are in the upcoming exams, really. Obviously, they're doing all this revision. You know, some of them, they know what to do. Some kids are not sure, and they have in their mind, oh, this is the first time they have that fear of doing the exams. Do you see what I mean? Because it's the first time round in a couple of years. So chatter is very important, that you need to maintain a positiveness around you. If you know the stuff, you know the stuff. If you don't revise, you're not going to get it. Simple as that. No matter what you're thinking, or whatever it's telling you, you just need to get your revision done. Obviously, there's so many types of revision. You can do, you know, talking with one person so that you can, you know, discuss the topics, and then that gives you more information in, you know, doing questionnaires, doing mind maps, you know, make sure you've got the right information there, as opposed to, you know, wondering, is this right or is this not wrong? You know, what did they say? Guessing all these answers, it's not going to work. You need to be, you know, certain of what what you're writing, basically. So running up to exams sometimes can cause a lot of chatter. And these are some of the examples I'm talking about that can be happening with our young people. The wrong chatter can stop you from being your best. So again, it can confuse you, as opposed to, you know, the answer, is that the right one? Is not the right one? Okay.
And also, like
I've got a message.
in terms of chatter, it's so like when you're feeling, you know, these negative feelings and stuff, it's also important to have the right people around you and have the right type of conversations with people as well.
Yeah.
If you know you have that good friend, or, you know, certain people that you speak to, and you're saying to them, oh, I'm thinking like this is going through my mind. And then they can say, no, it's going to be better. Things will get better. Try doing this, you know, try doing that. That's also, you know, it's very important to have the right people around you as well. In life, in general, you know.
Exactly. So again, it's a big thing. Whether we believe it or not, chatter is real. Chatter obviously has an effect on people. It sometimes deceives us, because obviously it's there all the time. 4,000 minutes per second or per thought or whatever it is a lot of things happening. So you don't want to rely on these, obviously these voices, inner voices talking to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to talk about the word chatter itself and the definition of it, because so it's talking informally about unimportant matters. So it makes sense, the terminology chatter, because most of the chatter that you're speaking to yourself is, you know, it's not even important. It's a negative thing. So we're, you know, bringing the awareness of chatter to you guys that are watching, to how to turn the negative chatter in your mind into something, you know, into positive chatter. And that's also like your conversations with people as well. You know, how you talk to people and how people talk to you. Gossiping is also a form of chatter, unnecessary chatter. You know, it's just about positive, you know, being positive. And how to turn the negative chatter into good chatter. So why this and why now? Why are we talking about this and why now? Jacqui mentioned it's an important time as a lot of our children are going through their exam times and feeling anxious. And, you know, also us as adults, we go through different stages of our life where we feel, you know, anxious as we're approaching certain milestones. So your internal chatter may talk about being overwhelmed or unprepared or feeling stupid or not being popular, or challenges you, you know, challenges that you need to overcome. So it kind of sounds like we're being repetitive, but it's good, because the more we repeat things in different ways, different scenarios, then we understand, you know, the message that we're trying to get across. And we want your mind to work with you to achieve great things. So even us as hosts, we're trying to achieve great things and not, you know, concentrate on the negative things in our life, because we live in, you know, really uncertain times right now. So it's very important to, you know, bring these positive shows to you and, you know, things that affect your well-being. And this is part of it.
Yeah.
We want to help you to turn it into your superpower.
Exactly.
As well. And we want to make sure nothing stands in your way of you doing your best. And, you know, we're all trying to be the best versions of ourselves. So, I mean, what kind of things can we do, Jacqui? We've spoken about a few, but what kind of things can we do to turn negative chatter into positive chatter?
Now, that is quite an interesting question that you just asked me, because it's very difficult for me to sit here being a non-medical specialist to promote how to switch these things, to be quite honest. It's very difficult. We learned from Simon the last time that the worry time is there to help us, you know. And I've been doing the worry time, to quite honest. I probably leave it to the daytime. I'll leave it till that day I need to deal with it and then think about it, which is quite difficult to do.
Everyone's different though, isn't
it? Yeah, exactly. So, you know, if you've got all these chatter happening, or, you know, being overwhelmed with all these things happening to you, I will say, you know, make notes of things that is bothering you, because I like to write stuff down a lot so I can deal with it on the day, which helps me. The only form of chatter that happens to me is in the morning when I need to plan things. Or, for example, if I need to have a conversation, oh, you need to do this, and then it reminds me. But having a dialogue about something never happens to me, because everything's down and I know when to deal with those things. So I feel it's very, very helpful putting things down on paper, leaving things to, you know, the worry time, or deal with it on the time, as opposed to, you know, dwelling over it, having that constant reminder on your mind. So that'll be basically me. That's how I deal with my chatter. It's not that I don't have chatter. We all have chatters, because we're all human beings. We all deal with it in different ways. So yeah.
So your advice is to plan, like, write things down.
I would, to deal with it. If it's a negative chatter, okay. So if it's a negative chatter, example would be obviously, you know, fixating in the future, worrying about the future, you know, that sort of thing. As I said, I'll put that on the vision board, so I don't have all a to-do list, so to speak, so that you don't have to keep thinking about it.
But the truth is, even though we write things down and, you know, we have a plan, you know, we have a plan of our life for the day, you know, sometimes it's still, the thoughts still don't go away, the chatter still doesn't go away. So, I mean, how
it has some of it has to go away depending on what it's bothering you about. So, for example, you know, if we have to do this on my mind, obviously, all day. Oh goodness, we've got the Wellbeing Show. It's there. Do you see what I mean? But then I had to stop when I was in classroom teaching. Do you see what I mean? Because eventually I'm going to do the Wellbeing Show in the evening.
Yes.
Do you see what I mean? So it does stop if you can control it. It is something which is controllable, so it can be stopped, and that's why it's, you know, the show is available for people to understand that, you know, you can control it. You can control it, and there are ways to control it.
There are ways to control it, but for
Yeah.
example, like say if somebody is desperate to get married,
Mm.
they're thinking about that thing constantly.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just trying to take it, you know, so that some of the viewers can relate, because you know, some things
No,
that you
it's a good
worry
one. It's a
yeah,
good
there's some
one.
things that you worry about, like
Yeah.
marriage, and you just can't get it out of your mind. And you know, you keep focusing at watching videos on people getting married, and you keep
Well, you
thinking
shouldn't
about
be watching videos of people getting married.
what you're gonna look like on your wedding day, and who's going to be your bridesmaid. You know, so these are the worries of life, that some serious worries,
I totally understand that
people have in life, you know. And what it is that until you get married, until that happens, you know, you can't worry about it until someone asks you to be your wife. The truth is you can't worry about it. So what's the point in thinking about that thing all the time? You know, these are the things that really affect people in our community. Like, yeah, let's talk about some of the things that would be affecting people in our community that they would be thinking about constantly.
So I totally understand your example. However, you having that stress and having that chatter in your mind about you getting married and it's not happening, you're stressing yourself. In my opinion, you're stressing yourself. You're causing a lot of harm to yourself, because number one, if you've got a boyfriend, then that's a different story. Then you know that your boyfriend is going to eventually marry you. But if you don't have one, why are you thinking about getting married? Do you see what I mean? You need to put that in the diary and forget about it till you meet somebody that you're dating. Otherwise, that is how I look at it. If you haven't got a boyfriend, why are you worried about getting married?
It's true.
Yeah.
So, okay, you're right. You're very right. I mean, this whole chapter subject could, you know, is quite broad, and we could talk about specific
different things. Yes.
But I think the focus today is just, you know, bringing the attention to identifying that this voice
that it's there.
Yes, and it's not that you're going crazy or anything, you know, because it's normal. It happens to the best of us. It happens to us every day. But what we have to do is try and turn it into something positive. So some of the things we can do, like I was saying before, that works for me personally. And like I said, we're not clinical specialists, so we can't talk about it from a clinical point of view. But we will have someone on that will, you know, talk about it, because it does affect people to the point where it's becoming, you know, a mental health issue. There's different spectrums of chatter, but you know, some of the things we can do is, you know, affirmations, you know, speak good things into your life, say good things about yourself, look in the mirror, and you know, just praise yourself and concentrate on the good things that are happening in your life, and you know, the things that you're good at, you know, and the things that you're trying to change,
and enjoy also, the moment that you're in. Enjoy it. Enjoy the people around you. Take advantage of people around you. I take advantage of, you know, people around me. Like last week, I wasn't doing anything. You know, Big Joe said, let's go to the wedding. And then we went to the wedding. We had a fabulous time. We didn't have to worry about it. I think it was good. Do you see what I mean? So we have to take advantage of one another to help our well-being.
Yes, social well-being. That's a good way.
And also, it is.
Yeah, and reading books. I mean, if you don't like reading, audiobooks. If you don't like audiobooks, there's always YouTube to watch, you know.
Exactly. You can do walking, go to the park. You've got Mavis who does all these walks all the time. It helps her mental, you know, well-being.
And going to the gym. Yeah, that helps.
Going to the gym. I'm not a gym person, but people like the gym. You know, go out to restaurants, you know, meet people, talk to people, you know, hang out with people, work colleagues, you know, all these things helps, and it will stop the chatter for that an hour that you're with somebody. Do you see what I mean?
Because you can't stop it forever, but you can stop it for moments.
Yeah, which can contribute to your state of mind. Exactly. So at this point, I would like us to watch the video chatter, why it matters and how, you know, it could be harmful to us as well. So if the video is ready, okay.
So once again, would like to remind listeners that myself and Jacqui are not mental health specialists or clinical professionals. We're just members of Bestel Foundation, striving to create well-being awareness to the BAME community, you know, in this instance, African Black community. So if anything we've discussed today has, you know, brought something to your attention, or you might think someone, you know, needs help, or, you know, someone, you know, is going through a series of chatter crises in their life, you know, you can always contact the team and they'll be able to help you and give you more information on this subject.
Good.
Yeah, so we're going to have a video play.
Yeah.
On chatter.
Yeah.
The sidewalks of New York City are superhighways of anonymity. During the day, millions of intent pedestrians stride along the pavement, their faces like masks that betray nothing. The same expressions pervade the parallel world beneath the streets, the subway. People read, look at their phones, and stare off into the great invisible nowhere, their faces disconnected from whatever is going on in their minds. Of course, the unreadable faces of 8 million New Yorkers belie the teeming world on the other side of that blank wall they've learned to put up. A hidden thoughtscape of rich and active internal conversations, frequently awash with chatter. After all, the inhabitants of New York are nearly as famous for their neuroses as they are for their gruffness. As a native, I say this with love. Imagine, then, what we might learn if we could burrow past their masks to eavesdrop on their inner voices. As it happens, that is exactly what the British anthropologist Andrew Irving did over the course of 14 months, beginning in 2010. Listened in on the minds of just over 100 New Yorkers. While Irving hoped to gain a glimpse into the raw verbal life of the human mind, or rather, an audio sample of it, the origin of his study actually had to do with his interest in how we deal with the awareness of death. A professor at the University of Manchester, he had done earlier fieldwork in Africa analyzing the vocalized inner monologues of people diagnosed with HIV/AIDS. Unsurprisingly, their thoughts roiled with the anxiety, uncertainty, and emotional pain produced by their diagnoses. Now Irving wanted to compare these findings with a group of people who surely had their woes, but weren't necessarily in a grieved state to begin with. To carry this out, he simply, and bravely, approached New Yorkers on the street and in parks and cafes, explained his study, and asked if they would be willing to speak their thoughts aloud into a recording device while he filmed them at a distance. Some days, a handful of people said yes. Other days, only one. It was to be expected that most New Yorkers would be too busy or skeptical to agree. Eventually, Irving gathered his 100 streams of internally represented speech, as he described them, in recordings ranging from 15 minutes to an hour and a half. The recordings obviously don't provide an all-access backstage pass to the mind, because an element of performance might have come into play for some participants. Even so, they offer an uncommonly candid window into the conversations people have with themselves as they navigate their daily lives. As was only natural, prosaic concerns occupied space in the minds of everyone in Irving's study. Many people commented on what they observed on the streets, other pedestrians, drivers, and traffic, for example, as well as on the things they needed to do. But existing alongside these unremarkable musings were monologues negotiating a host of personal wounds, distresses, and worries. The narrations often landed on negative content with utterly no transition, like a gaping pothole appearing suddenly on the unspooling road of thought. Take, for example, a woman in Irving's study named Meredith, whose inner conversation pivoted sharply from everyday concerns to matters of literal life and death. "I wonder if there's a Staples around here," Meredith said, before shifting, like an abrupt lane change, to a friend's recent cancer diagnosis. You know, I thought she was going to tell me that her cat died. She crossed the street, then said, I was prepared to cry about her cat, and then I'm just trying not to cry about her. I mean, New York without Joan is just, I can't even imagine it. She started crying. She'll probably be fine, though. I love that line about having a 20% chance of being cured, and how a friend of hers said, would you go on a plane that had a 20% chance of crashing? No, of course not. It was hard to get through, though. She does put up quite a wall of words. Meredith seemed to be working through bad news rather than drowning in it. Thoughts about unpleasant emotions aren't necessarily chatter, and this is a case in point. She didn't start spiraling. A few minutes later, after crossing another street, her verbal stream circled back to her task at hand. Now, is there a Staples down there? I think there is. While Meredith processed her fear about losing a beloved friend, a man named Tony fixated on another kind of grief, the loss of closeness in a relationship, and perhaps even the relationship itself. Carrying a messenger bag down a sidewalk scattered with pedestrians, he began a self-referential riff of thoughts. Walk away. Look. Suck it up. Or move on. Just walk away. I understand the thing about not telling everybody, but I'm not everybody. You two are having a goddamn baby. A phone call would have been good. The sense of exclusion he felt obviously cut him deeply. He seemed to be poised on a fulcrum of sorts, between a problem in search of a solution and pain that could lead to unproductive wallowing. Clear. Totally clear. Move forward, Tony then said. He used language not just to give voice to his emotions, but also to search for how best to handle the situation. The thing is, he went on, it could be an out. When they told me they were having a baby, I felt a bit out. I felt a bit pushed out. But now maybe it's an escape hatch. I was pissed before, but must admit, not so pissed anymore. Now it could work to my advantage. He released a soft, bitter laugh, then sighed. I'm certain that this is an out. I'm looking at this positively now. I was pissed before. I felt like you two were a family, and you two are a family now, and I have an out. Walk tall.
Oh, very interesting.
Yes.
Quite interesting to hear all those examples of those chatter happening within those, scenarios. It's quite interesting to hear. What did you think about that?
I mean, that video is a perfect example of what I was saying before. These are the kind of things we should be listening to, daily. There's a lot of videos like this on YouTube. I mean, it's not really motivational, it's more informative. But yeah, there's a lot of informative and positive videos you can find on YouTube that can steer your negative chatter away and turn it into positive thoughts for the rest of the day or for whatever time you feel you need to take that negativity away. So yeah, that was quite insightful. Thank you, Jacqui.
Very insightful. And I thought this guy Ethan Cross has done massive research about how chatter affects people's daily lives and how simple issues or communications with people can have an effect on our brain and how it can stick with us long period of time, which is very harmful to us. So at this point, let's just recognize people online that's joined us. If there's any questions that we've got any questions, any comments?
We would like to acknowledge the people that have tuned in. So we had Raymond Coffee tune in today.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in. We also had Nana Sleep and George Bester, who is our country coordinator in Ghana. So, we do have people globally tuning in.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I see Nathaniel. Nathaniel found fast pace in walking in the park very helpful. Sometimes exercising distracts his mind from negative feelings, which is a very good one. So if you're, a person who does walks all the time, that'll probably be a good way to, as you said, how we can help our well-being or those thoughts go away. Because most people I see in the park put their headphones in and they're power walking most of the time. and they don't have to be, worried or thinking about things. So that's a really good form of avoiding. George,
Yes.
enjoying the wall control. Miss Newlove.
So yeah, at this stage, we would like to acknowledge, our team, which is very important. We have an amazing team that work behind the scenes at Bestel Foundation. We would like to acknowledge Peter Hassler, who is the patron for Bestel. Also, Dr. Shusham Gupta, who's another patron. Mrs. Laura Cullingham, who's a psychologist that works with Bestel. Dr. Justina Sherpatwaska, our consultant psychiatrist. Nash, who is Nashuru Mamori, who is the CEO of Real Insight Consultant. He's an amazing person. He does so much with Bestel and an amazing spokesperson as well. And George, once again, Bessa Simon, who is the country coordinator. Mrs. Linda Kwachi, Mrs. Anne Marie Menu, and Mrs. Fendi Taylor. These amazing women work behind the scenes effortlessly for Bestel. And also Hilda and Miriam, who are responsible for the catering and provisions, which Bestel do every Sunday. They go to various households and put smiles on people's faces. These are the kind of things that Bestel do in the community. And finally, we'd like to say a belated happy birthday to Andy Che, who is the head of funding at Bestel. He helps us with all our funding and finance. So
and to Big Joe as well.
Your birthday week.
Yeah, you forgot Big Joe.
Stella, who is the CEO and founder of Bestel. Without her, we wouldn't have the Wellbeing Show. We wouldn't be able to bring you this amazing show, the Wellbeing Show. And also our technician, Big Joe, who does all the coordinating and helps us bring our beautiful faces to your screens. So thank you, Big Joe, for everything. You're appreciated.
Happy birthday, Big Joe. And guess what?
It's Big Joe's birthday was, yes, it was your birthday.
Oh, it was the weekend.
It was Big Joe's birthday. Andy.
Yeah, and it was Ethel's birthday today. I haven't even called her. Happy birthday, Ethel.
Your bad friend. Naughty friend.
I'll call her tonight before I go to bed, because if I call her, she won't stop talking. So I'm too tired. I'll leave her to tonight. God bless you, Ethel. Wishing you long life and everything, your heart desire. So at this point, I'm going to quickly go through Bestel, background of Bestel and the plans for the future. So Bestel Foundation is a charitable organization registered both in the UK and in Ghana. Our aims is to address the stigma of mental health within the BAME community, which is the Black African minority ethnic group. Obviously, Bestel provide the awareness, interventions and support well-being within the whole, both in Ghana community and the UK community. As Miss Newlove mentioned, we've got a large staffing supporting the well-being, the whole foundation. However, we've got a team that do the face-to-face visits at home. We've got a team that does the virtual support. We've got another team that does the full parcels, which are being delivered over the weekend. In addition, during the mental health week in October, Bestel travel to Ghana alongside with professionals, NHS professionals to Ghana on a yearly basis to provide mental health awareness in Ghana, to the military hospitals, to the prison services, teaching well-being awareness, constantly teaching the well-being awareness. I'll quickly go through the values. The values are to reach anybody or whoever who needs us. We listen, we're independent, and we've got partnerships as well that we work with the Real Insights and all the sponsors that Miss Newlove went through. We listen and we act and we never give up. We are constantly working, like we've shown up today, trying to promote well-being within the community. Again, the mission is to maintain UK well-being and in Ghana, providing the stigma, trying to show that awareness and the education of mental health within the community, and also to provide basic resources for day-to-day running and obviously functioning of mental health facilities in both in the UK. So if we say functioning, the workshops, and also we're doing some more work as well within in Ghana. The vision in the UK, again, enhancing the awareness with mental illness, improving levels of inclusion among the BAME group or the BAME community due to the stigma. And finally, we're here that's going to be every fortnightly, because the team are going away to Ghana. So you will see us in 2 weeks, of course, every week. It will be me and a guest, hopefully, as Miss Newlove going away for a while, and we'll be back soon, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you will be back in 2 weeks with a special guest. And so we'd just like to thank our sponsors once again, who are South London and Maudsley NHS Trust, and also the National Lottery Community Fund. Our partners are Diversity Radio, The Real Insight Consultant, 60 Seconds Creative Studio, Base, Become a Successful Entrepreneur, which belongs to the amazing Jacqui. So if you want to start a business, or you have a child who wants to start a business or learn about business, Jacqui's a teacher in business and economics. So do contact her at Base, and she will help you or your child.
Gold Diggers. Gold Diggers is all about inspiring the community. So if you've got any inspiring celebrity, bring it all the way to Miss Newlove.
We'll be coming back with that show, Gold Diggers Talk Show. So these are our partners, and we're working together to bring you the best, with Bestel Foundation.
Yeah. Thank you, Isaac. We've got a couple of people on there. Thank you, Isaac Tego, for joining in. Stella, thank you. You two, you're fabulous. Handsome baby, you're fabulous. Now that's slick. George, Nathaniel, thanks for showing up. Rosemary Buba is in Accra as well. I'm sure she wasn't able. She went to Ghana last week. Shanti is still in Ghana as well. All my partners are in Ghana. I know they weren't able to join. So thank you so much, guys, for joining. Big Joe, thank you so much. I hope you're having a good week, birthday week. And this is it for us. Thank you, guys.
So see you again, and don't forget to share this show, because it's so watchable on Diversity Radio, on Facebook, and on Bestel Foundation's YouTube page. I'm one of the hosts of a brand new show brought to you by Bestel Foundation.
The Wellbeing Show is to help reach BAME families, to help with mental health, support, and emotional needs. The Wellbeing Show streams live every Tuesday at 8 to 9 p.m. on Diversity Radio via Facebook, YouTube, and Mixcloud. So tell your family and friends to tune in as we discuss topics that affect our well-being. The Wellbeing Show is proudly sponsored by NHS South London and Maudsley, the National Lottery Community Fund, and partnered with Real Insight, Base, 60 Seconds Creative Studio, and Gold Diggers Talk Show.